Hi everyone, welcome back to CA Dreams YouTube channel. So this is the part number 3 for Caro 2016. So till yet we have discussed about the applicability, and also we discussed that to all the companies to which Caro 2016 is applicable, the auditor is required to make certain reportings in his audit report, and therefore there are several matters that need to be included in that report. So we have already discussed about 3 matters. I also gave you one memory technique to memorize those points, and that was that you have to imagine a balance sheet in front of your mind. And what points did we discuss? We discussed about, first point was about fixed asset, then second point was about inventory, and the third point was about loans and advances. Okay, so here what we discussed that the loans and advances, when the company is giving or granting loans and advances to anyone, then what all conditions do the company need to comply with? Okay, so here we talked about that it is with the terms and conditions, a proper schedule of repayment is there, and also if the amount is overdue for more than 90 days, then proper action is taken. Okay, now we are discussing one more point that is related to loans and advances only. That means your asset side only. And in that, what are we going to discuss? Let's start with the fourth point. In respect of loans, advances, guarantees and security. Now here, guarantees and security is also added. So what do we need to do in this point? The auditor has to report, that means he has to report that whether the company in respect of loans, investments, guarantee and security, so whether the company is complying with the provisions of section number 185 and section number 186 of the Companies Act 2013. Now what is this section number 185 and 186 of Companies Act 2013? I'll not discuss it in detail. If you want to read this section, you can go to Google and just search about it. I'll just tell you what these sections are about. These sections are simply about the restrictions and the conditions the company need to comply with whenever the company is giving loans to anyone. Okay, so basically what you can say that here also they have mentioned it, that whether the terms and conditions of the grant of such loans are not prejudicial to the company's interest. So here we discussed about the terms and conditions, that those terms and conditions should not be against the company. That means those terms and conditions should be in the favor of the company's interest. Okay, but here what we are talking about, here first of all we are talking about all the loans, investments, guarantee and security is also there. That means all the loans, all the investment, all the guarantees, all the securities the company is giving to anyone. Okay, here in these 2 points, as we are on the asset side only of the balance sheet, we are giving money to anyone. Okay, here we are not receiving loans, here we are granting loans. Okay, so here the company is giving loans, here the company is giving guarantee. Okay, so you as an auditor, you just have to mention that whether the company is complying with the provisions of section number 185 and 186. So these both sections talk about restrictions, that means all the categories of companies which cannot provide loans, which cannot grant loans, and all the conditions that the company need to comply with when the company is granting loans or giving securities. Okay, so now from here our next side will be started, that means our liability side will be started. Okay, so whenever you are reading Caro, just imagine one balance sheet. For the matters I am saying, it is a part of memory technique. You have to make one balance sheet in your mind. First thing we discussed about fixed assets, second inventory, then third loans and advances, and in loans and advances the fourth point was about loans, advances, guarantee and security as well, and investments also. Okay, now let's just come to the next side of our balance sheet, that talks about your shareholders fund and your liabilities. Okay, so fifth point talks about in case the company has accepted deposits, whether the directives issued by the RBI in the provisions of section number 73 to 76 or any other relevant provisions of the Companies Act 2013 and the rules framed thereunder where applicable have been complied with or not. So basically, whenever the company is accepting deposits, the company needs to comply with section number 73 to 76, and also there are so many directives, that means instructions. Okay, whenever the company is receiving, now the company is not giving, okay, the giving portion is over. Now the company is receiving, now the company is taking loans, taking deposits. Okay, you can also write here if you're getting confused. Just have a habit of writing each and everything so that you do not need to pressurize your brain. You just need to memorize. Okay. So here what we have to do, we as an auditor, what we have to mention in our audit report is that in case the company is accepting deposits, so you have to mention that whether the company is complying with the directives, that means the instructions that were given by RBI. Also you have to mention that whether the company is complying with the provisions of section number 73 to 76 of the Companies Act 2013, and also the rules have been followed or not. And if not, if the company has not followed, or if it has contravened with any of the stated, then if an order has been passed by the Company Law Board or National Company Law Tribunal or RBI or any court or any other tribunal, whether the same has been complied with or not. That means you have to mention that whether the company is complying with it or not. And if the company is not complying with it, then what is the nature of such contravention? That means any action has been taken against the company by RBI or by the tribunal. And if any such action is also taken, then also you have to state it in your audit report. Okay. Now let me just show you these 2 points, these 4th point and 5th point in the audit report of Reliance Private Limited, so that these 2 points are clear to you that how in reality, how does an auditor state the matters in his audit report. Okay, so just give me a minute, I'll show you. See guys, here we discussed now that when the company is giving loans, guarantees and securities, so you also have to mention that whether the company is complying with section number 185 and 186. So they have shown it like that in our opinion and according to the information and explanations given to us, the company has complied with the provisions of section number 185 and 186 in respect of grant of loans, making investments and providing guarantees and securities. Okay, and the next point which we discussed was about deposits. Okay, so here they have shown it like that according to the information and explanations given to us, the company has not accepted and deposited not accepted any deposit from the public. Therefore the provisions of clause 5 the paragraph 3 are not applicable to the company. Now in this case, the company has not accepted, now the company has not taken any deposit, so therefore you do not need to report about it. So they have simply mentioned it. Okay, so like this we have to include these matters in our audit report. And one thing also you might have noticed that everything is in a proper sequence. That is why I am giving you a memory technique, so that you can also learn these points in a sequence. First point was about fixed asset, then second point was about inventory, then third point was about loans and advances, fourth point was about loans, investments, guarantees and securities, then your fifth point is about deposit. Okay, I hope that you are clear till here and you have learned all the points. Now let's just move forward. Now let's just start with the 6th point. Now 6th point is about maintenance of cost record. Now you will say that we do not have any such asset or liability as cost record, but guys, maintenance of the records of liabilities and assets is only your record keeping. Okay, so balance sheet is a practice of record keeping only, so therefore the maintenance of records is very very important, and therefore the maintenance of cost record is also important. So this is how you can link this point to our memory technique that was about memorizing the balance sheet. Okay, so here it is written that in the respect of cost records, I'm telling you that where maintenance of cost record has been specified by central government under subsection 1 of section 148 of the Companies Act. Now this you will read it in cost audit section. Okay, section number 148 is about cost audit only. So to all those companies to which the provisions of cost audit are applicable, section number 148, those companies have to maintain cost records. Okay, so to all the companies, you have to report about all the companies which have to maintain cost records. So you have to write in your audit report, you have to mention in your audit report that where maintenance of cost record has been specified by central government under subsection 1 of section number 148, and whether such accounts and records have been so made and maintained. Okay, so to all those companies to which the provisions for maintenance of cost records are applicable, have those companies maintained them properly? Okay, so you just have to mention this in your audit report. Okay, now let's just move to the next aspect of our matters. So here it is written that whether the company is regular in depositing undisputed statutory dues, including provident fund, employees state insurance, income tax, sales tax, service tax, duty of customs, duty of excise, value added tax, cess, and other statutory dues with the appropriate authorities. Now what did we discuss till yet? We discussed first point on the liability side was deposit. Okay, now when you're taking money from anyone, you have to pay it back also. Okay, but if you're not able to pay the money which you have taken as a loan or taken as a deposit from anyone, what does it indicate? It indicates that you are facing any financial difficulty, and that is why you're not able to repay to anyone, because you are liable to that particular person and you have to repay to that person. Okay, so this also you have to mention that whether there is any dispute or whether the company is regular in depositing undisputed statutory dues. Now statutory dues are basically your the dues that are you can say mandatory for the company to give as per the law. Okay, like your provident fund. Now various companies have so many policies that they have to issue this much amount for provident fund, this much amount for state insurance, this much amount as income tax. Okay, so all these are mandatory provisions for which the company is liable to pay. Okay, and these are as per the law, so therefore it is the term statutory dues. Okay, now if the company is regular in paying the undisputed statutory dues, that means paying statutory dues without any dispute. So if the company is regular, then what will you conclude? That the company is in a good position. But if the company has so many disputes in statutory dues, then of course you might conclude that the company might be facing financial difficulty, and that is why only it is not able to pay its dues, right? So where the company is regular in depositing undisputed statutory dues, this you have to mention, I have already read it. And if not, the extent of arrears of outstanding statutory dues as at the last day of the financial year concerned for a period of more than 6 months. This is very, very, very important. These limits can confuse you in your MCQs. They might ask you small limits in your MCQ, and then you will not be able to answer. So for that, what you can do is, as you have so many pages in your audit book, so wherever there are such things like limits or number of days or anything like that, what you should do, first thing you can do is you can just mention a L on the top of that page, so that on the last day or on your exam day also, if you want to revise on the limits, you can just turn up your pages and just have a look all the pages which on which you have mentioned this L. Okay, this L stands for limit. Okay, so this you can do if you want, but at least highlight this. Okay, you should highlight this 6 months. So whenever a company is having any arrears for more than 6 months, then you have to mention it properly. But if it is less than 6 months, then you might also not mention it. Okay, so they have mentioned it that if the extent of arrears is for more than 6 months, then you should indicate it in your audit report. Now second point is here, that is similar to this only, where dues of income tax and sales tax or service tax or duty of customs, excise, value added tax have not been deposited on account of any disputes. Now if there is any kind of disputed amount, here they just said that whether the company is regular in paying undisputed statutory dues or not, and if the arrears are more than 6 months, then that you have to mention. What they are saying in the next point, they are saying that if there is any disputed amount, that means the company has not yet paid that particular amount, then you have to mention the amount involved, and the forum where dispute is pending shall be mentioned. That means the reason that why this the dash and dash amount is disputed from the end of the company, from the side of the company. So a mere representation to the concerned department shall not constitute a dispute. So they are saying that if they have properly represented it to the concerned department, then it will not constitute a dispute. But if they have not informed to the department also, the concerned department also, then it is a matter of dispute, and the auditor should mention the amount and also the forum where such disputed amount is pending. That means ongoing, means where the discussions related to that amount are ongoing. That means the organization to which the company is liability to pay, like for income tax, the income tax department, for sales tax, that department, that particular department. Okay, so this you have to mention the forum and the amount. So till here we have completed 7 points. Let's move to the 8th point. After we will complete 10 points, then I'll show you all the points in your audit report. Okay, in the audit report of Reliance Limited. Now 8th point talks about where the company has defaulted in repayment of loans. Now you might get confused in learning all the points, so just quickly let's just quickly revise. First point was about fixed assets, second point was about inventory, third point was about loans, fourth point was about loans, guarantees, securities, investments. Now fifth point was about deposits, sixth point was about cost records, seventh point was about that when the company has taken any loans or to all the statutory dues, basically the dues to which the company is liable, the statutory dues. Okay, like in your balance sheet you can see tax, or you can say payable, income tax payable, or payable amounts basically. Okay, in your balance sheet your payables amounts. Okay, like audit fees payable. Okay, so this you can also imagine in your balance sheet. Now next point is about that whether the company has defaulted. Now this point is about that from those people from whom you have taken money. Here it was not about returning to those people from whom you have taken money. This was from the nature of statute, from the nature of law. But here it is about that in the first point we taken the money, now we have took some money from anyone, so therefore we are liable to that particular person or that particular organization because we have taken the money as loans, that from give me loan and after this and this date I'll return it to you. Okay, therefore I am liable to that particular person. So whether the company has defaulted, now here the company is not able to return the money to anyone. Do not get confused. This was by the nature of law, and this is for those from whom you have taken the money. That means those who were your liability side. Here first point we discussed now about deposits. So to those people only from whom the company has taken the money, has the company returned the money to them on a proper schedule or not, as per the schedule or not. Okay, so where the company has defaulted in repayment of loans, that means the company is a defaulter. The company is not able to repay loans and borrowings to the financial institutions, bank, government, or dues to debenture holders. So if the company has defaulted, then the auditor has to mention, if yes, the period and the amount of default to be reported in case of defaults to bank, financial institutions, and government, lender-wise defaults. Okay, so this was by the nature of law, and this is for the liabilities. Okay, now ninth point is about your shareholders fund. So in your balance sheet we discussed so many points. I'll not repeat it again. Let's just repeat one liabilities side. Okay, first point was about deposits, second point was about your statutory dues, and third point was about repayment of deposits only, repayment of loans only, or repayment of borrowings only. Okay, now we are on the shareholders fund side, and we are going to discuss about IPOs. and I would advise you that you should make a balance sheet and you can write the points, because otherwise it will be very difficult for you to learn if you are learning with my memory technique. So therefore, just pick up your notebooks or pick up a paper and stick it on your book and make a balance sheet and write first point fixed asset, second point inventory, third point loan, fourth point loan, then fifth point deposit, sixth point cost record. Likewise you can write in the balance sheet only. Okay. So 9 point talks about whether money raised by way of initial public offer or further public offer and the terms loan were applied for the purposes for which those were raised. If not, the details together with delays or default and subsequent rectification, if any, as may be applicable, be reported. Now, the company, raises funds through initial public offer. This you all must be knowing, or further public offer. Okay, so this is how money is raised by the company, and the terms loan were applied for the purposes for which those are raised. That means whenever the company is raising money, that means either through public offer, either through further public offer, either through terms loan. So for whatever purpose, for whichever purpose the company is taking or raising the money, the company should use the money for that purpose only. That money which you have taken for any so and so purpose, that should be used for that particular purpose only. That should not be utilized for any other purpose. So this is what they are saying, that the auditor has to mention that whenever the company is raising money from IPO, FPO, term loan, this is actually borrowing only, but I am telling you this equity and liabilities because here it is a term initial public offer. And this we are not discussing in technical terms. We are not discussing balance sheet. Actually, this balance sheet is just a part of memory technique only. Okay, so please do not just bring accounts into it. The balance sheet is just for memorization of points. Okay, so here what we are talking about, that whenever the company is raising money through IPO, FPO and terms loan, this CARA requires a memorization. That is why I am focusing on the terms, and therefore you should also focus on these terms. Okay, 9 point is about money raised through IPO, FPO and terms loan. Okay, so for whichever purpose the company has taken the loan or raised the money, the company should utilize that money for that particular purpose only. Like suppose your mother gives you 10 rupees to bring samosas for the guest, so you should utilize the 10 rupees for samosas only. You should not buy chocolates for you. Okay, so this is what it is. Though that was a very pity example, but no issues. I hope you are clear till here. Okay, and if not, if the company has utilized the money for any other purpose, then the details together with delays or default and subsequent rectification, if any, as may be applicable, be reported. Then you have to mention the details. Okay. Now 10th point is about whether any fraud by the company or any fraud on the company by its officers or employees has been noticed or reported during the year. If yes, the nature and amount involved to be indicated. Now this you have already studied in duties also, that whenever there is any fraud and the CARO is applicable to that particular company, then the fraud reporting is also to be done as per CARO only. So if the fraud is there in the company, whether any fraud by the company or any fraud on the company, means either the company is involved in the fraud or the company is the victim of the fraud by its officers or employees. So if it has been noted, whether it has been reported or not, so you have to report the nature and amount involved of that particular fraud. Okay, now next point that comes is your 11th point, but before starting with this 11th point, let me just show you the real audit report. So see guys, 6th point was about maintenance of cost records. So this is how you have to mention that we have broadly reviewed the cost records maintained by the company pursuant to, because the cost audit was applicable on Reliance Private Limited. That is why Reliance Private Limited had to maintain cost records. So this is what their auditors have mentioned, that we have broadly reviewed the cost records maintained by the company pursuant to the company's rules 2014 prescribed by central government, and are of the opinion that prima facie see, the prescribed accounts and cost records have been maintained. We have, however, not made a detailed examination. This is also they have made made it clear that they have not done the detailed examination of the cost record with a view to determine that whether they are accurate or not. But the company has actually maintained the records. Okay. Now, your 7th point was about your statutory dues. So there they have written that according to the records, the undistributed statutory dues, they have been generally deposited with the appropriate authorities, and according to the information and explanation given to us, no undistributed. Now can you see this line? According to the information and explanation given to us, you have already studied about inherent limitation. So whatever information is available with the auditor, or to whichever information the auditor can reach, to maximum information to which the auditor can reach, the auditor considers sorry, only that particular information. So that is why the auditor is writing again and again that according to the information and explanation given to us, no undisputed amounts payable in respect of the aforesaid dues were outstanding as on March 31st for a period of more than 6 months. And the next point was about that if there was any disputed amount, then you have to mention the amount and the nature. So they have mentioned that they have not been deposited. These have been not been deposited, and they have also mentioned the details of that income tax of this much amount for this year, then your excise duty for this amount for these years. Okay, so this is how they have mentioned the details. Then your 8th point was about the repayment of loans and borrowings. So in our opinion and according to the information and explanation given to us, the company has not defaulted in the repayment of loans and borrowings. And your 9th point was about your this equity and it was about the raising of money, means for whichever purpose the money is raised, the money is utilized for that particular purpose. So they have written that in our opinion and according to the information given to us, money raised by way of debt. Now the money was raised by debt, okay, by debt instruments, and the terms loan during the year have been applied with the company for the purpose for which they were raised. That means for the purpose for which money was raised, that money has been used for that particular purpose only. And your 10th point is your, in our opinion, according to the information and explanation given to us, no material fraud by the company has been by the company or on the company by its officers or employees has been noticed and reported. Okay, so till yet we have discussed 10 points, and now you are not left with much portion. Just a few more points are left, and then you will be over with Caro. So we will continue with this in the next class, and then we will end up with Caro. Okay, just 6 more points are left, and then we will finish up with this section, and then we will move to joint audit and cost audit. Okay, so I'm ending this video here, and for any doubts you can just comment down, and also if you're getting benefited, then please do share. Also do subscribe to this channel for more upcoming videos. Thanking you.